And after that, I went on to do a PhD in molecular medicine at the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio, and then did a postdoc in genomics and proteomics at UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. And I once I finished that, I'm now a data scientist with DXE, which is a global IT services company. So I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to try and spend 5 minutes giving you some insights on what I think is the best way to structure your career, and then we'll do maybe about 10 12 minutes of questions. How does that sound? That sounds good to you?
Yeah, that's fine, sir.
Yeah. So and you can call me Balaji, right? So let's it's this is supposed to be casual, right? And so anyway, so if my basic advice to you guys for those of you that are in your like first and second years is don't worry about your career, right? Just focus on your GPA. Um, get an average GPA. And I don't know, when I was in Sastra, it used to be 7.58. I don't know what the going average is these days, but that's probably where you want to be at. And that's probably when you want to start thinking about what you want to do. So you want to go and study abroad, or I can see that means can you still hear me?
Yeah, you are audible here. Just the
Yeah.
internet connection is slow.
Okay. And so yeah, basically if you're in your third and fourth year, start thinking about what you want to do, in terms of, do you want to go get a job straight up? Do you want to go get some more education? When I was in college, bioinformatics was new. Nobody really knew what it was about, and all the different applications that it entails. Now there are, it's been 15 years since then. So the field has developed a lot more. There are a lot more opportunities, and the best thing about bioinformatics is it's at the intersection of many fields. So bioinformatics can be biology and chemistry. Bioinformatics can be biology and molecular biology and computer science, chemistry and computer science, or it can be microbiology and computer science. So it's you should know by your third or fourth year sort of where you want to go. Do you like chemistry and computer science, so on and so forth. But I will kind of stop there and see which direction the questions are heading, and maybe questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start with a question, and we'll see which way the conversation goes based on the questions.
Okay. Any questions? So he wants to start with a question so that he could interact with everybody.
Otherwise, it's like a classroom, right? And you guys have been in classrooms long enough. That's what you're going to do tomorrow from 8:40 to 4:40.
No, actually the time has been changed. It's 8:45 to 5:15.
Right? Still even longer.
So can continue. They wanted to be
Okay.
as a lecture chips.
So here, this is what I'll tell you what I did, right? So I did a BTech in bioinformatics, and for me, that unsatisfying in some ways, because I don't know, the coursework is sort of a mishmash of some courses in biology and some courses in computer science, and they don't at least maybe now, it's been 15 years, I'm sure it's gotten better, but at that time it felt like they just didn't gel together. So for me, I wanted to learn how I can apply computer science to biology a little bit better, which was the whole idea of doing a PhD. And the reason I did a PhD was, I couldn't pay for my master's. So I just found courses that will fund me to study. and that was the rationale behind doing a PhD. Um, and at that time, the cutting edge in molecular biology, computer science was doing gene expression, and gene expression using microarrays. That was becoming big at that time. So that was my goal, was to go out and study gene expression using microarrays in my PhD. And so it that even though that was my goal, it sort of went somewhere else completely differently. Ended up doing a lot of imaging, cell biology, but never lost sight of where I wanted to go. And so I retooled back and did a postdoc in genomics. So by 2012, 2013, genomics was becoming a big thing, and genomics is sort of really big right now, especially when you think about personalized medicine and things like that. So you that's what I mean by, you sort of want to think about where you want to go. And when you think of a career, right, so you're going to start working latest maybe by the time you're 25, and you're going to work um, in you live till you're 90, so you're probably going to end up working till you're at least 75. So it's a 50-year marathon pretty much, right? So don't think of it like a 100-meter dash, right? So have a have and think about it in terms of 5-year sprints, right? So you start working when you're 21, work towards where you want to be when you're 25, and keep adjusting your goals as you go. Does that make sense? Is that a question?
Does anyone have any question?
Hello, sir. This is Abhirami. I'm doing my final year bioinformatics.
Uh-huh.
So I question that is, whenever I say people that I'm doing bioinformatics, they'll have a big question mark as what is bioinformatics. Now this is the question I'm facing, and I was facing. So what it was for you to face the when you did the bioinformatics?
It was worse. It was way worse, right? so, so so we are talking about bioinformatics before the age of cloud computing, right? Um,
So what did you answer them? What were your answers?
you know, I used to say it was computer science and biology, right? And truly, honestly, that is what it still is today. What the reason I talk about trying to find where you are is bioinformatics is a very very wide definition, right? So it can be, like I said, so you can be in drug design, for example, which is chemistry and computer science. So the common theme that runs along all of this, you'll notice computer science is the constant, right?
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure. So I can't remember who it was on my test call yesterday said, maybe you want to tell the students what your regrets are. And I think one of my regrets was I never took programming very seriously when I was in college.
Oh,
So I sort of did, but not really. I know my algorithms, data structures, programming fundamentals pretty well, but I never taught myself programming, never learned to code in industry, um, never did all of that stuff. So in that sense, I would say if there is one skill that you guys should focus on, uh, pick a language, get really good at it. So in today's world, if you're doing bioinformatics, there is no way you're doing it without Python or R. So pick one, get really good at it. And when I say good, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is still the standard, but sort of the standard when I was in computer science class was to write all these little algorithms, right? So you write algorithms to sort numbers in ascending order, to sort numbers in descending order, or to sort them from A to Z, Z to A. Basically, and I understand the concept. It teaches you to arrange, use arrays, arrange things like that. And you want to get bigger than that, right? Yes, your lab work tells you to do that, but you want to get better at coding than that, because that is kind of really basic. It's a good introductory coding lesson, but it's not really good in any practical way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And right, and
Yes.
so in go ahead.
No, no, I just said yes.
Right. So in terms of when I said the other aspect is chemistry or biology or pharmacology, for example. So I'll give you my example, right? So a lot of what I do is so I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own genomics data analysis company, and I work for an IT services firm. So at both these jobs, what I constantly deal with is healthcare and life science data. At my company, I deal with genomics data, so sequencing data, right? And a lot of these projects, the reason people hire my services is I have a very strong grasp of molecular biology, right? So, for example, here I'll throw another regret at you. I used to have molecular biology labs all the time in Jivan Chaitanya, right? I used to go in, do my stuff, and what was doing, copy the record from a previous student's or last year's student's record notebook, submit it, and walk away, right? And that is the absolutely the worst way you can never do a lab, right? So what I have learned, or what I regret not having learned well, is actually spending the time trying to understand what was happening in the lab. So I'll give you a simple example, and this was something I faced in my very first rotation as a PhD student, right? They gave me a couple of tubes and they said extract DNA and run it on a gel. And for the life of me, I did not even understand the question. And I looked at them with my eyes so big that they were thinking, how the hell did you get into this PhD program? You're going to die here, right? So these are simple things that you should have learned if you were paying enough attention. And I still remember in that molecular biology lab in Jiva Chaitanya, they used to have this little UV box that you can image agarose gels with. And I really wish I had somewhat taken it seriously, to be perfectly honest with you at that time. So those are like simple things that you learn, right? If and I'm sure conversely, if you're interested in drug design or drug development sort of applications, you need to know your chemistry and by extension your biochemistry really, 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 really well, right? So how does a molecule really go together, right? What are the things you should watch out for when you're trying to dock something into a protein? These are all skills that you absolutely need to learn. Make sense?
Yeah, yes, sir. Thanks a lot for sharing, sir.
Sure. I can see a hand back up. I don't know if there's another question.
So the question is that back in 2015, when we took bioinformatics, we didn't have, I mean, we didn't have that term until coming to Shastra. So what made you take BTech bioinformatics back in 2003?
I'm going to be honest, and this is I hope Vaidi sir is not sitting in the audience because he's going to crack up. So when I first came to Shastra, I actually wanted to do biotechnology. To be perfectly honest with you, and so when I was sitting in that chair trying to pick, the very last seat in biotechnology got picked, and the only two options left were bioengineering and bioinformatics. And Vaidi sir came and he sat down next to me, and he said, "You know what? Why don't you pick one of the two, bioengineering and bioinformatics, and we'll see if there is leftover in biotechnology, and you can move later, things like that." And I said, "Sure." I don't know, but I don't know what to pick. I can't. It, neither bioengineering nor bioinformatics seems like something I want to do. And he sort of looked at me and he said, I don't know, I hear bioengineering is difficult. And so I picked bioinformatics. So, there was really no logic at that point for me to pick bioinformatics. So I'm sorry I could not give you a more thoughtful answer. I wish as a 17-year-old I had thought more about it, but honest to God, I didn't. I
I
didn't.
mean, no, this is the because even though we have no idea or logic why we pick bioinformatics, how we are going to finish it.
No, I think as a 17-year-old, if you have that much insight, you will be Ravi Shankar, right? You will be Sri Ravi Shankar because you've philosophically figured out at 17 years old what you're going to do for the next 60 years in your life. So, so there is no grand answer, but if now that you're in, right, the question you want to ask yourself is, do you like it? Do you like what you're hearing? Do you like this idea of using computer science to answer biological questions, right? So I remember there was a lot of confusion when I was there. The people that used to teach us biology used to say, it's okay if you don't get all of this. You're a computer science student. Your applications are going to be in computer science. So we want to make sure you get the fundamentals of this, and that's it. The computer science folks used to say, this is everything you're doing is so you get fundamentals in computer science and you'll be fine. Middle, but I would say a bioinformatician is more of a computer scientist than a biologist, right? So you want to know your biology functionally, but you want to know your computer science practically. So you're no good as a bioinformatician if you cannot write code. Bottom line, that's it. You
Okay.
absolutely need to know how to write code to analyze data. You need to know statistics. You need to understand the biology. So if I tell you something to the effect of, hey, here are four sequencing samples, um, from a control set and a knockout set, and I want you to do differential gene expression. I want you to be able to understand that in biology.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. Is, is there another question?
No more questions.
Perfect. And I think we are almost up on time, aren't we? Is anybody keeping track?
We are on time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if there aren't any more, my parting thoughts for you guys, as we wrap up on time is, don't think too hard, right? You're never going to have the perfect career path. The most important thing as you're building a career, and like I said, right, it's a marathon. So you're thinking about 50 years, is to have the right friends, right? And when I say friends, I mean networking, professional type friends. So keep in touch. Some of you guys are going to end up um, in big companies, and back 15 years ago, bioinformatics was being done by maybe four people in India, and already I can see there are many more educational institutions in India that are doing bioinformatics, right? um, and and you can either go down that route, chase opportunities in India. Unfortunately, I don't know of any companies that may be hiring bioinformatics BTechs off the back. So in that sense, maybe it makes sense to go out and get a master's, or something. It may definitely help you with sort of for those of you that feel confused, it will definitely help you understand. um, so that's one. The second thing is, reach out to as many, especially as you're in your 20s, if you want to sort of figure out what you want to do, reach out to many more professionals. So go on LinkedIn, search for bioinformatics alumni. bioinformatics or computational biology or drug development, and find people that are in your area. And right, so you have 15 years worth of an alumni network of people that have done bioinformatics at Shastra, right? I am sure there are at least 10 people in these 15 years that have continued working in bioinformatics. So look them up on LinkedIn, send them a message and say, hey, I am your junior. I am in the 2019 batch. I have some questions for you. I want to talk to you. And and when you're talking to them, um, the usual way you want to start a conversation with anybody, especially when you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn, maybe somebody you don't know, is to have them talk about themselves, kind of like the way you guys are doing with me, right? People love to talk about themselves. Everybody wants to tell you how great they are doing, right? So instead of asking them questions, just tell them, tell me about your day, tell me what you do every day, tell me how you got to doing what you're doing, tell me how you found your job, tell me how great the people you work for are, things like that, or tell me what the people you work for are doing, right? And so those are the sort of questions you want to ask them. And once you get to know them better, it never hurts to say, do you know of any internships that I can take? Do you know of a course? Can you tell me one course that helped you? Was it an online course? Was it an in-person course? Things like that. And I think we're almost up on time, so I'll stop. But if you want to reach out to me, grab my email address from the alumni database, send me an email. I'd be happy to talk to you. I think one-on-one is probably a better venue, or maybe 5-on-1 is probably a better way for you guys to ask questions than 500 to 1 or 50 to 1.
Yes, thank you. So,
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
so I mean, we'll have a short break and let us assemble back by 4:30.
Okay, let us start the next session. We need to be on time. So Vishnu Priya wanted to say something to you guys. Shall we start with Vishnu Priya? So next, if anybody else wants to share a few words, you're welcome to. Alumni.
So, good evening, everyone. So, it's a great pleasure for us to be here back once again and rekindle our memories in this JVC auditorium without our student ID card for the first time. Yeah. So, so we have made a video on farewell note of a batch 4 years back. So, we would like to share this now, but I'll put a big disclaimer here. So we did this for pure fun and not to hurt anyone. So we have even given the disclaimer in the video. Please read it twice or thrice. So I'll play the video now. It gives the one liner about our staffs as well as the 2015 batch members. So here goes the video. So this is the disclaimer.
Venkatachalam sir. Saravadi sir.
I still question. Forever someday.
Yeah, so that's our batch, proud 2015 BBIN. We call ourselves Bindas. So all of us in a batch enjoy to learn and learn to enjoy. So I think that's the secret of success of our batch, and we recommend same to you as well as the juniors. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
So give it up, guys. That was a great video by the 2015 batch. And now, after a big exhaustive day with all this stuff, now we welcome the Navodaya team to show a